Let me tell you something right off the bat, just to see if you've ever had a Tuesday like this. Imagine you're in your home office working through numbers, thinking about dinner plans, when suddenly you hear your front door creak open. Now, my first thought, honest to God, was maybe my wife got off her ER shift early, or maybe Jalen, my 10-year-old basketball crazy Michael Jackson afroed kid, just left the door ajar after shooting hoops. But no, what I hear next makes my blood run cold. A woman's voice, shrill and officious, echoing right in my living room. "Excuse me, young man, but you need to leave this house immediately." You ever had that split second where you're not sure if you're awake or dreaming? I freeze, coffee halfway to my lips, heart pounding because my boy is in there. I burst out of my office, and what do I see? There's a woman, platinum blonde hair, pink tracksuit, 2 sizes too tight, gripping an iPhone like it's a police badge. She's got a kid with her, maybe 12 pale looks like he wants the floor to swallow him up, and she's standing over Jalen, who's curled on our sofa, clutching his Switch and looking like he just saw a ghost. I try to keep my voice level, ma'am. I think there's been a mistake. But she just glares, eyes popping, and says, "Oh, there's 2 of you. I'm calling the police for breaking and entering." Now, I'm 42, and in all those years, I've never been accused of breaking into my own home. She dials 911 right there, still standing on my rug, describing us to the dispatcher like we're public enemies 1 and 2. "Suspicious individuals in the Henderson property," she keeps saying. "Henderson? Who's Henderson?" My son's looking at me wide-eyed and scared, and it's that look that makes me snap back. I tell her as calmly as I can, "Ma'am, I own this house. We live here. You're the one trespassing." She laughs and says, "Nice try. I'm the HOA president. I have keys to every property in this neighborhood for inspection purposes." At that point, I realize we're dealing with someone who believes she owns the place, every place. The police never show up, probably because even the dispatcher figured out something was off. But let me tell you, that was just the opening act. The next morning, there's this knock at the door, the kind that says, "You better open up because I'm someone important." And there she is again. Same pink tracksuit now, with a badge hanging from a lanyard and a clipboard that looks like it's seen 1,000 passive-aggressive notes. "Good morning," she says, like we didn't just live through her Home Invasion, the pilot episode. "I'm Geraldine Whitmore, president of the Maple Grove Homeowners Association, and we need to discuss your violation." I stare at her bathrobe, open coffee burning my hand. "Ma'am, you entered my house yesterday and tried to remove my son. I think it's your violation we need to discuss." She waves me off. "That was a routine inspection. I'm authorized to conduct random inspections. Now I'm an accountant. If anyone understands paperwork and rules, it's me." "Show me the documentation," I say. "Show me where it says you can enter my house." She gets red in the face, whips out her phone, and starts filming me. I'm documenting this hostile behavior for the board. Meanwhile, my neighbor, Mrs. Choon, is out watering her flowers, trying not to watch, but I catch her shaking her head. Later, she tells me Geraldine's been asking around about our background, seeing if we fit the neighborhood profile. And that's when it clicks. It isn't about violations or standards, it's about us. That night, my wife comes home, and when I tell her, she goes silent for a full 10 seconds. She walked into our house, told Jalen to leave. I start digging old paperwork, closing documents, every scrap about the neighborhood. Guess what I find? No HOA on record. Not a single page. Turns out Geraldine applied for one last year and got rejected by the city. She just decided to pretend the HOA existed anyway. And now she's the president of a kingdom of one. That's when my inner accountant kicks in. I could go to the police and end this, but something tells me it'll be a lot more satisfying to let her dig her own grave, so I watch, I wait, and I start documenting. Next thing I know, Geraldine's leaving fake violation letters on everyone's porch, threats about lawn heights, mailbox colors, even non-traditional landscaping. She's got business cards that say HOA president with a logo she probably drew herself. And people believe her most are elderly or new to the block, too polite to question. A week later, Mrs. Choon, retired teacher and resident tea supplier, sits at my table and spills the whole story. Geraldine moved in, started small notes about garbage bins and lawn ornaments, then ramped up to accusing people of culturally inappropriate decorations, even fined one family for having a quinceañera. She's got a whole notebook. Mrs. Choon whispers, "Pictures of your house, your car comings and goings." Most neighbors ignore her, hoping she'll move on, but with us, she's obsessed. Why? Because we're the only black family on Maple Grove. She wants us out, plain and simple. Us. One afternoon, I catch her and 2 other women taking pictures of my house. "Can I help you ladies?" Geraldine puffs up. "We're conducting a neighborhood survey. One of the women bolts. The other mumbles something about feeling uncomfortable, but Geraldine stands her ground, snapping photos of my garage and muttering about unsightly storage conditions. My garage, which I kid you not, is neater than most kitchens. I tell her, "Ma'am, one more time, leave my property or I call the police." She storms off, huffing about the board, hearing about this. That night, my wife and I have the talk. Do we move? Let this woman drive us out of our dream home? No way. We did nothing wrong, my wife says. We're staying. That's when I get serious. I go to City Hall, pull HOA records, and there it is in black and white application, denied, not enough signatures, proposed bylaws so draconian they make North Korea look like a summer camp. Mandatory beige paint, no kids outside after 6 p.m. $200 monthly inspection fees, you get the idea. Then I visit the county recorder. No management company, no legal right for anyone but homeowners to hold keys. But Geraldine's been collecting fees anyway, $3,000 from neighbors over the year preying on the elderly and the timid. One neighbor, Bill, shows me his notebook payments complaints, even missing valuables. Turns out Geraldine's been using her inspections to burglarize houses, taking keys, snooping through mail, even copying documents. I set up cameras, and not a week later catch her on video trying to unlock my front door with a key that thankfully doesn't work. I call my neighbor, Mrs. Johnson, and sure enough, she's never given out a key. But she's missing jewelry, cash, and a sense of safety. Now here's where it gets wild. Geraldine hires a locksmith caught on camera to make herself new keys. She's got keys to every house but 3 on the block, and that's just the ones I know about. I start a phone tree, and it turns out nearly everyone's missing something: cash, heirlooms, even passports. The final twist. In her paranoia, Geraldine tosses a garbage bag full of damning evidence into Bill's trash can, receipts from the locksmith, a handwritten monthly take ledger, and this is the kicker, a printed email about relocation assistance for families who don't fit the neighborhood demographics. Turns out Geraldine's not just a rogue actor, she's part of a national neighborhood transition racket. I stash the originals in a safety deposit box, send my wife and son to stay with relatives, and start calling authorities: FBI, local police, the DA's office. The FBI is all over it, linking Geraldine and her cronies to a network spanning more than a dozen cities, targeting hundreds of minority families, all under the guise of maintaining community standards. Next morning, the feds raid her house. News vans are on the lawn. Neighbors who once ignored her are suddenly ringing my bell to say thank you and sorry in the same breath. Turns out some of the most stolen property was stashed in Geraldine's own garage, and the breadth of the conspiracy makes headlines nationwide. Geraldine ends up in federal court, sentenced to 15 years for civil rights violations, fraud, theft, the works. Her network is exposed, the fake HOA dissolved, and restitution ordered for every victim they can track down. 6 months later, the neighborhood's a new place. Real block parties, real community. The house where Geraldine lived. Bought by a mixed-race couple with twins. Jalen's best friend these days, Geraldine's own kid, Jeb, who apologized to us the first chance he got. Kids, you know, they don't hold grudges the way adults do. And me, I tell our story whenever someone asks if it was worth it. If you're dealing with a bully, don't just move away. Stand up, document everything, find your people, and fight for your place in the world. Because the real crime isn't standing out, it's letting someone else decide you don't belong. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from, if this reminds you of your own neighborhood, or if you think standing up to bullies is worth it. Would you have stayed or gone? Because honestly, I hope our story proves you never have to wonder again if you belong in your own home. You do. End of story.